first, representing the main event mafia from Detroit, Michigan, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner.
First time ever on Impact, Nation of Violence, first blood rules to apply in this matchup. Simply put, we will start with Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner versus Samoa Joe in a first blood match. Bleed and lose. Now, if Steiner wins, the bout is over. But if Samoa Joe wins, he then faces Booker T under the same first blood stipulations in a second separate match.
His opponent from the Nation of Violence, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe!
When it comes to the Nation of Violence, the mission is clear, but not so much when we try to find out who has been advising Samoa Joe. And here comes Steiner to meet him on the ramp.
Well, Scott Steiner going right after him, which is what you got to do. Mike, we saw Joe and the damage that he did to Kevin Nash last week, and we know that he just beats to a completely different drum ever since he's had this advisor, so to speak. Scott Steiner's taking the battle to him.
Steiner able to turn it around on Joe and shoots him off directly into the steel guardrail. And now Steiner taking the timekeeper, the bell ringer's bell, right to the head of Joe. He hit him right in the face with the bell.
I'll tell you what, they're going to check this. This may be over right now. Scott Steiner, no, Samoa Joe, though, not busted open. Talk about a hard head, and whoa!
Steiner just relentless. Talk about ringing the bell of Samoa Joe. That's exactly what he did in more ways than one, using the hammer to ring the bell while it was on Joe's head, and then face first right into the steel ring post.
Hey, they need to check and see if his eardrum was bleeding. But the bottom line is another steel ring post shot. I don't know how Samoa Joe is keeping from breaking open. It's unbelievable. This guy is unreal. No blood again.
You know, when you question Samoa Joe about who's behind the orders to take out the main event mafia, response, it's the same. It's cold. It's blank. And the first thing that you realize is you better change the subject. We know that Samoa Joe has effectively crossed Kevin Nash off of that main event mafia hit list. That happened last week in the 6 Sides of Steel. And he's got 2 potential victims in place tonight. Scott Steiner the first.
I'll tell you what, Mike, today, I've done the impossible. I have absolutely got myself an interview with Samoa Joe next week. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to ask the tough questions. I'm going to get to the bottom of this advisor and who this is. I'm going to get names. I'm going to get Joe to tell it all. And as one of the greats in this business, Bobby Heenan said, when that interview's done, you'll know the definition of broadcast journalist.
Well, I hope you get to the bottom of this situation, and I hope you do get some answers and solve that mystery on who the advisor is, who's been in Samoa Joe's ear telling him to take out the members of the main event mafia.
I'll tell you right now, you got to wonder what's going through Scott Steiner's mind. You talk about giving somebody everything you can give them from the beginning. You're talking about the bell, hit him a couple times with that, busted him on the rail, busted him in the ring post, and still can't stop this onslaught that Samoa Joe. Again, Scott Steiner turning things around, and you can see now he's going to try to expose the metal there in the turnbuckle.
Just pulls the turnbuckle pad off, and you're right, the exposed steel in place. And obviously Steiner wants to take Joe and drive him right into that steel, and Joe's able to put on the brakes, and Steiner tries to overpower him, and then Joe turns it around. There goes Steiner head first, and now referee Rudy Charles going to use the towel to check to see if Steiner's bleeding.
I don't believe he is. No, he's not. And you can see now that Samoa Joe just bringing the fist straight down on the head of Big Papa Pump. I mean, this guy, he's just so unpredictable, and he had the hit list. He did it last week with Nash. This week, he's got a chance to take 2 out at once, and you got to wonder what the main event mafia is going to do if he succeeds.
Well, those piston-like punches from Joe, still not able to open up Big Papa Pump, and Steiner at the last second turns Joe around, shoots him off into the corner, and Steiner rolls out of the ring, and he's going to go underneath the ring to find some kind of an object to try and help him make Joe bleed. That is his trademark pipe. We've seen it in the past from Scott Steiner on many occasions. Here comes Joe with that suicide dive with the elbow added.
Just takes the fight right to him. It's unbelievable. And then you heard Joe. He said after he gets rid of these three, Kurt Angle's next. Kurt Angle has a King of the Mountain qualifier here with Sting later on tonight. He can't be thinking about Samoa Joe. Now Joe, he's got Steiner stunned, and he's got the garbage can put on top of it. Oh, no, the lead pipe in his hand.
Steiner's in trouble here. Look out!
Oh, my God! Oh,
Think of what that must be like to be defenseless inside the trash can as the Nation of Violence just continues to beat on the trash can, and think of the damage that it does to the head, the face, and no question, Steiner's busted wide open.
Oh, my God. Look, he's busted in 3 or 4 places. Oh, that was one of those brutal things I've ever seen. Oh, look at the blood just pouring out of Scott's head. Oh, man.
Per the stipulations of this match, Scott Steiner is eliminated, and Samoa Joe must now face Booker T.
That's one of the most brutal, that's one of the most violent things that we have ever seen here on Impact, and it comes courtesy of Samoa Joe and the Nation of Violence. The blood is still pouring out of the head of Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
Look at the face of Booker T. If that's not fear, I don't know what it is. And you can see the concern there with Sharmell as he realizes he's going down to face a madman. If I'm Booker T, I don't know that I don't just walk right back down that tunnel.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. When we return to Impact, it's match number 2. Samoa Joe, Booker T, First Blood. Part number 2 of the Nation of Violence First Blood matchup. Samoa Joe, Booker T. Samoa Joe's already taken out Scott Steiner tonight. That on the heels of the elimination of Kevin Nash last week. And he's got another main event Mafia member in his sights. He's got Booker T next on that list.
Samoa Joe's already won the mental battle. You saw that when Booker T came down. Now Booker T showing that experience. Wow. Just fighting through it. He just got to fire back, but it had to be tough for him back there. And you know he was watching it on the monitor, what Joe did to Big Papa Pump.
You hear the sound from those knife-edge chops echoing throughout the impact zone. Booker T able to get a little space between himself and Joe, and that's what he needed, because now he's turned it around on Joe, and he's lighting up the chest of the big Samoan submission machine, and now he goes right into that post, and let's see if Joe's bleeding here.
That might have done it. No, this guy's unreal. It's like his skin's taped on with super glue or something. It just won't break open. But I tell you what, he's got the right idea, Mike. He's going for the nose, the mouth, any of the things that might bleed a little bit easier. It's just not working for some reason.
Joe fights back. And an impactful move right there as he takes Booker by the head and by the hair and puts him right into the steel guardrail, and the referee checks, and no, Booker T's not bleeding.
Tell you what, Joe's got an answer for everything. Anytime one of these members of the main event Mafia get momentum, you would think that their experience would take over, but Joe just finds a way to turn it around. He's like a freight train into the steel ring post.
Nothing, Joe. That's the word from referee Rudy Charles, and the match continues, and the violence and the brutality continues as well. Booker comes back, a couple of elbows into the midsection of Joe. That takes the wind away from Samoa Joe and turns it in favor of Booker. Face first into the steel steps. That may do it.
This could do it. Booker T, and what a great moment this would be for the main event Mafia to be the first person to stop. Nothing. You're kidding me.
Think of how important it would be to just put a halt, to put a stop to this momentum that Samoa Joe has, and those knees right to the head. While he holds Joe by the back of the head. Oh, Booker went for the big move, went for the kick, and instead he gets crotched on the rail.
He thought he had it over. He thought he had Joe dazed.
Joe's got the pipe.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, right into the gut. Oh, my God.
I mean, that could cause internal bleeding.
I was getting ready to say he might not be bleeding on the outside, but you know he is on the inside. What a shot. You know what he is? He's spitting up blood, Mike. Good call. He's spitting up the blood.
The winner of this match, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe.
Put yourself in the shoes of Kurt Angle. Samoa Joe has taken Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, and Booker T off his hit list.
As a fan of the Main Event Mafia, that was so hard to watch. Just look at the